What's up, everybody?
Oh,
Yeah, we're live.
And it's turkey time.
Turkey time?
It's turkey time, dude.
Oh, dude.
So
I think we're a few months late.
No, dude, it's turkey time.
No.
I'll tell you why. Because
Why is it turkey time, Grant?
on my Bad Movies podcast appearance I made this past week, that was an
Oh,
actual
dude, are we
quote
going to go
from-
through this again?
That was an actual quote from the movie.
It's turkey time?
Yeah, so
And what
I don't
was
know
it
if
in
you know about
reference
this,
to?
But in the movie Gigli, it's a 2003 bomb with
How do you spell
Jennifer
this?
Lopez. Gigli.
Okay.
It's a bomb with Jennifer Lopez and
If you name your movie that name, it's going to bomb.
What's his name?
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck, yeah.
Yes.
And literally in the sex scene, to coerce Ben
Ooh.
Affleck to have sex with her, she goes, giving her oral sex, she goes, "It's turkey time.
No.
Gobble, gobble."
Him giving her oral
Yes. She goes, "It's
Oh,
turkey time. Gobble,
no,
gobble." Welcome to
dude.
20-somethings. Listen to that episode of Bad Movies because it's hilarious. It's one of my best.
Dude, that's horrible. Well, I guess it is turkey time, Grant.
Yeah. Also, we're here with our Bang energy drinks. If you want to sponsor us, Bang, we both got our Bang energy drinks.
Look at
we are
that.
not sponsored by Bang. I feel like I need to legally say that, but
But,
sponsor
hey,
us 'cause
listen,
we like your
we
product.
would be
Yeah, we would be.
It would
So
be.
Maybe we should tweet them.
if you take interest. Yeah, we will tweet them.
Let's-
Fuck it, right?
Let's tweet them.
Yeah, let's tweet them.
All right, so
Right now.
big news this week, Keith. A lot of people are up in arms
Dude.
about some news that's going around revolving around abortions.
Yeah, we've been talking that we want to have this first segment as a little bit of more of a debate between me and Grant, like we kind of go at each other a little bit, but for
I don't
this
know if
one,
we're
I
necessarily
think
going to a debate, but
this one we're like on the same page.
yeah. So that's the bit. Each week we talk about something relatively serious that's going on in the world in
Yes.
the first section. So to start this off, we are going to talk about abortion. What I want to do is there's some notes that
You
I
got
wanna
articles
read.
up.
What?
You got articles up.
I just have one that's a Washington Post overview of what's going on.
Okay.
And I think it's, for listeners, it's good in case you don't know.
Yes.
So there's just 3 questions that I think give a good overview. So it's, why is everyone talking about Alabama's new law? The bill signed by Alabama Governor Kay Ivey on Wednesday prohibits abortion in almost every circumstance as considered the most restrictive abortion law in the country. The legislation makes exceptions only for the health of the mother and for fetuses with fatal anomalies that make them unlikely to survive outside of the womb. Rape and incest are not exceptions to Alabama's ban. Which state most recently passed abortion laws? Because there's more than just Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Missouri's Republican-controlled House on Friday voted to ban abortions at 8 weeks of pregnancy after the state's Senate passed the measure a day earlier. Governor Mike Parson, who has said the bill would make Missouri one of the strongest pro-life states in the country, has said that he would sign it into law. Like the law in Alabama, rape and incest would not be exceptions to the ban in Missouri. And then finally, can a woman who has an abortion be punished? And I didn't know this. I didn't realize this because I felt like people have been saying they can.
Mm-hmm.
But it says the laws in Alabama and Missouri specifically exempt women from being criminally liable.
Yes, but I think it's
The
Ohio that.
It's Georgia's new bill.
Oh,
She said
Georgia,
it's less
okay.
clear because it defines a fetus or embryo as an unborn child. But other provisions in Georgia law protect the rights of the pregnant mother. So actually, in no case is it like an absolute thing that the woman can be punished for having an abortion.
No, that's not true. There is cases where the woman can be punished in certain states.
What I'm reading here on the Washington Post is saying that they're exempt from punishment for getting an abortion.
Well, I've seen. I'd have to look more into that because I've seen a lot of people saying like this
I
is
know,
ridiculous.
that's why I just said this is interesting because I think maybe it's ridiculous what they're saying.
Maybe it's getting
ridiculous
misconstrued.
that the people that are performing the abortion can go to jail for a longer time than like a rapist.
Yes. Well, that's crazy,
Yeah.
right? That's absolutely crazy. But it still doesn't talk about what's happening to the woman. I wanna read more into that,
Well,
and we'll come back
let me
and
do a quick Google search right now and see
Yeah.
if we can get any more information on
because
that. Can a woman be punished by Alabama's?
Punishing the doctor is a whole separate issue, but punishing the woman is like you're out of your goddamn mind. Like that. Where did this law even come from? This is it's a thing that just spewed out of nowhere. No one had any problems. There was no, yes, it's been an issue that's been talked about for a while, but it's not.
Thing. It's a cultural thing. It's.
But it seems like it rose up out of nothing. Like
it's always been, but it's one of those so for example,
there's undertones of it.
In political science classes in high school, you can get an understanding of like the culture of the United States based on the cases that you study within those classes, because they're like fundamentally like the big charged issues that sort of define and what distinguish the two parties of the United States.
Did you take political science in high school?
I took one class as a
so
senior.
were you forced to take it?
I think so. I think I had to take that or something else.
Man, that is so bad, man. Because I went to a great high school, in my opinion, but we were never forced to take a politics class.
What that class did was, like the main project of the class was you and a partner had to pretend as if you were the lawyers siding on one side of a debate against another person within the scope of these big cases.
Okay.
So, like, for example, if it was Roe v. Wade, one group would be defending it and another group would be attacking it. So that was the point.
Right.
So
it's great idea for a class.
I'm trying to find.
This is what's weird. It's very vague. It's, maybe things are getting misconstrued. Maybe they aren't punishing women. I don't know, because I've seen two totally different things.
Yeah.
What you said and then what I said.
I'm trying to find the most stringent, allows only for exemptions, become enforceable in 6 months, but given the number of legal challenges.
I've also seen things where people are like, any of my relatives down south in Georgia, Alabama, if you need to, take a quote vacation, come on up. Like it's like a whole like Underground Railroad sort of thing.
Right. Well, that's what people are going to be doing, right?
Right.
But if they get caught, they'll be liable, I guess.
That's where this confusion comes from, because if they're liable, then there is punishment.
So, this is Rolling Stone makes no mention of women being liable as well. None of these articles I'm looking at make any mention of women being liable.
Okay.
So,
I mean, regardless, it's a horrible law.
Yeah,
but
I would have to imagine that if that was part of it, then we'd be seeing it. I just looked at like 4 articles, and none of them have mentioned that women would be punished, except in other countries where they say that is the law, like in places like Nicaragua.
Right.
So.
Oy, heavy.
The world is exploding over this issue. I would like to say that I don't know. It's hard for me to determine how big of a deal this is. It's a big deal for the people in the States. How big of a deal it is for the country, I don't know. Like, I don't know if people in other states need to be freaking out. I don't think that they do, especially if you're in a Democratic state. Granted, it's a wider issue than that, right? Because it's a cultural issue. Like you said, this is something that's always been in the background. There's always been states that have more stringent laws when it comes to abortion. But what this is showing is that it's going to be more acceptable to implement these pro-life laws in a multitude of Republican-held states.
Like we were talking about earlier with the whole marijuana thing, right? It starts in one state, but then it's gonna fizzle. Some states might flip to it. Some states might be totally against it.
Because that's a democratic thing, right? And
right.
You see how democratic states are now following that trend once one state does it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, right? So people are freaking out because this is going to challenge Roe v. Wade. My understanding is that if it challenges Roe v. Wade, and let's say they turn over Roe v. Wade, it's just kicked back to the states. And the states make their own laws, just like marijuana.
Well,
but the problem is it's a cultural thing. And with the Supreme Court rules, like you might think about it like a good analogy might be like gay marriage. Like once the Supreme Court ruled that gay marriage was legal, there was a massive uptick in the amount of people that deemed it acceptable, right? So if the Supreme Court rules against abortion, there is going to be an uptick in people that go with that, because people follow the trends of the country, the culture of the country, and that will show that a majority of the culture of the country is in support of these other policies.
Right.
So it's more of a cultural thing than I think it's more of a cultural thing than actually people being affected by it in certain areas of the country.
Well, I think because you see all these people that are saying, this is not just an attack on these states, this is an attack on our country, right?
Yes.
And no, not necessarily, because in your state that's not happening, but the mentality behind that is this is happening to women that are American citizens. That's that's our sister.
Yeah.
That's our cousin. That's our sister. We don't let that happen to anyone. So I think that's the mentality behind that whole.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that.
And
sure.
I totally understand it.
I understand that. And another thing that I feel like we just should say is that we're two white men.
Yep.
That like this honestly does not necessarily affect at all. Like necessarily. I mean, it does in some situations. It surely does. But
yes.
I don't want to appear as us being like mansplaining this situation. I'm
No.
just trying to go at it from my understanding of like why people are upset about it,
Yes.
and just have like a general discussion about
We should
the
be able to have a
issues.
general discussion
I'm
about
not
it, you
saying
know?
we can. I'm just saying like we are not the ones that are directly affected by this
No.
necessarily. We're
No.
more like secondary effects of this bill. Right?
Yeah.
Doesn't have anything really to do with our bodies.
No.
So I think that you and I hold slightly different opinions on abortion.
Okay.
I think, but I don't know for sure.
Well, okay, so steelman me. What
do I think yours is?
Yes.
My understanding of your stance on abortion is that you I mean maybe we do align, but my understanding is that you're for abortion, like legal abortions, but up until a certain point. That's my understanding for you. Does that
I'm
seem
for
right?
abortions, but up until a certain
point of development of the fetus.
Yes, but then see, so it's kind of like it's not black and white. There's a gray area there too, where it's like yes, up until a certain point. But let's say there's a situation where the mother's health is going to be affected, or the baby's health is going to be drastically affected, and it puts the mother in danger.
Yeah.
Those sorts of things, I don't think it matters at the developmental stage. If it's going to harm the mother that is holding it, then something needs to be done. You know, like unfortunately.
No, I agree with that. I think the reason why I think that I'm saying this is because I think one time we had a conversation that was like, we were talking about if we got our girlfriends pregnant, like how would you feel about an abortion?
Yes.
I think you said you would care more than me. Like I don't.
Yeah. I would. I'm for I think that you should be able to get one. Yeah. Now, if it were me, it would be very hard for me not to be okay with it. It's not my decision,
right,
you know? But it would be very hard for me to accept that is the route that is being taken because... Do you think that men have no say in it whatsoever? Because you just said it's not your decision. I think that it needs to be a discussion, but I think I think that the men's opinion needs to have some weight in terms of like, no, listen, like, you know, like let's say it's a situation where, we don't have anyone to take care of it, right? Like if the man says, listen, my parents are in town, they live here, my parents can help take care of it. Like, you know, these things should be talked about. They should be discussed. Yeah. The man's opinion should have some merit. But at the end of the day, the final say goes to the woman. You know, listen, I'm not the one holding a baby in my stomach, in my belly for the thought experiment of let's say your girlfriend had an abortion and just didn't tell you, and then you found out like a year later. That'd be kind of messed up. Yep. Right? Like I would feel like that would be sort of not messed up. Like that's not to say that like they can't do that. It's more just like, like we should have had a discussion about that. That's I would have liked to know. But at the end of the day, I will say that regardless of my opinion, I would like to have the space to vocalize my thoughts on it. But I would always leave the final word to the woman. Yeah. Of course. So what's, I think that we differ because I don't really give a fuck. Right. yeah, I was just going to say, you would go up until late term. No, I wouldn't. I would say, I feel like I'm pretty, like, in the, like, I asked you yesterday, like, at what point can it survive outside of the womb? That's the cutoff. That's my line. I think that my line. Oh, so yours is a little late. Yeah. Mine is when it's developed. But what I'm saying is, like, you're saying you would feel kind of weird about it in the early stage. I just wouldn't feel weird at all. I'd just be like, just abort it. I don't care. If it's the early stage, like if you catch it like, 6-8 weeks in, when it's a cluster of cells, I would have a much easier time with it. Sure. Once if God forbid I got my girlfriend pregnant and we found out 15, 20 weeks in, like all, how that happens, I don't know. But if that's the case, and then she says, I want to have an abortion, that's going to be, listen, again, it's her decision, but that's going to be harder for me to accept. So I think it's just we have the same I think philosophy behind it. I think just emotionally it would affect us differently. Yeah, I agree. So the other thing I want to talk about is in regards to this, I want to sort of understand the two different sides of the argument, right? Right. Now, which again is very difficult to do as a man, right? Because I don't feel
I feel obviously I feel a lot of empathy for women. I feel very protected, but I'm not a woman, right?
Right.
When it comes down to it, I can't hold a child in my uterus. So
Right.
I feel a little weird talking about this generally.
We had a good discussion about this the other day, though, and you made a really good point the other day about how the two sides are
arguments.
They're two different. Yeah, they're arguing two totally different
I
things.
Can explain that.
Yeah.
And it's counterproductive, even though both sides are valid, right? They're valid with the information that they're working with and with the perspective that they have.
Right? Yes, exactly.
So
that's the problem. Is no one's really wrong.
Right.
They're looking at it from two different scopes,
and they're weighing these things differently.
Yes.
People are prioritizing these things differently. So, from one side, pro-life people, my understanding is that people that are pro-life genuinely believe that you're killing a human in the same way that I could go next door and murder my neighbor.
Right.
Now. That's what they think.
That's their hardline belief.
Right. And they were brought up this way.
Mm-hmm.
Their religion tells them this. Higher powers tell them this.
That's
From
the
their
key point.
Perspective, that's how they interpret abortions.
Yes.
But their desire to ban abortion is interpreted by the left for pro-choice people as trying to control women.
Yeah.
I don't think that's their intent. I think their intent is we want to save human lives, and a symptom of that is that it restricts the rights of women, the autonomy of women. But I don't think, I think that's kind of misconstrued in this conversation, is that they want to control women first. I think their first intent is we want to save human lives. And now again, difficult for me to empathize with because I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Right. The fact that it's very hard for me to comprehend that these people think that a bundle of cells is the equivalent to a human life.
Yes.
I almost can't even put myself in that position.
Right.
However, I will try for the sake of this conversation.
Of course.
So.
But the thing is, though, is I agree with you in that I don't think that what they're doing is malicious, right? I don't think that what they're trying to do is malicious towards women. Now, you could make the argument that they are, and it's a pretty convincing argument. Look at the way that they deal out other laws, and it's like, wait, really, you care about human life? You're not doing anything to help school shootings. Not a single law has been passed since 2013, since Sandy Hook. Right. For anything to be done, you've controlled the House and the Senate for majority of that time.
There is,
where's the concern?
There's a million things that you can point out like that.
Right.
You might say that, babies in America matter, but not the ones that are killed in drone strikes in the Middle East.
It's a little whataboutism. It's a little bit of whataboutism, but it's kind of valid.
Right. It's not. Yes, there's a little bit of a fallacy there, but. The argument that they're putting forward is also based in a fallacy. And if you think about it, I think what's happening there is these people hold two sets of moral standards. They have, a lot of them are religious, so they have the moral standard of usually Christianity or Catholicism or something like that. So they hold those commandments.
Yes.
They also hold the commandments of the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
And those do not align completely. They're in competition with one another.
Right.
And so if you think about, like you just said, the school shooting, there is nothing about guns in the Bible because guns weren't around when the Bible was written. However, there is something about guns in the Constitution, which is their other moral foundation that they go off of.
That's a great point.
I mean, but that's just what it is.
I know.
That's why they don't see.
But looking at it from that perspective, they have two different inputs on morality, and they weigh it out case by case.
And I think that they would say, kill the school shooter. I think that they would say that.
What do you mean?
I think that they would say, school shootings are wrong. I value those kids' lives.
Yes.
100%.
Right.
What they're saying, though, is that they think that the gun issue is a completely separate issue than this.
Right. See, again, another instance of arguing two totally separate things.
And the problem is they don't see how that's paradoxical. That's the problem. They just see them as separate issues. So when you say that to them, or when you say that to anybody who holds these views, it's like, they're not weighing out how these are similar. Their logic behind them, they're approaching them as if they're completely separate issues.
Are you talking about abortion and gun laws?
Yeah.
Yes,
and
agreed.
The reason for that, I think, is because they have two moral fabrics that they go off of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, on the other side, we have obviously women who are incredibly upset about this,
and rightfully so. Yep.
I mean, I can't imagine.
Oh my God, dude.
Being told what to do with your body.
Right.
I mean, that's absolutely insane. Now, for me, it really bugs me because, again, I really don't think that a bundle of cells is anything.
Right.
Right? So I think what's at stake is like bullshit. When I go like this and scratch my arm, cells die. Okay?
Right.
So, you know,
Right.
when I breathe on somebody, cells die.
Our cells die
are
all the
dying
time.
All the fucking time. We are completely new people every like 8 months because
Yes.
of our cells regenerating.
Yes.
Okay? So let's relax, people.
I know.
Literally, like, that's what I have to say is fucking relax and reevaluate your idea
Well,
of life.
I saw another thing that was like, you know, we have egg cells that we freeze up, right? You know, like if people are trying to get pregnant and they're trying to go through a surrogate,
Yeah.
like they take a bunch of eggs and they put them in, they take a bunch of sperm, they put it in. If that doesn't get used, they throw it out. Where's the, you know, is that murder?
Right.
Because we're throwing out those
Some
cells?
people might say it is because that's part of the reason why people
but
think masturbating is sinful because you're wasting human life.
That's fucking insane. That's absolutely fucking
Yeah.
insane.
I know.
It's just a crazy, outdated, like you should be living with the fucking Neanderthals if you're thinking that way.
Right.
You know, it's you're being ridiculous.
It's so difficult for me.
You can't comprehend it,
I understand
man.
the logic. It's just so difficult for me to imagine thinking about something like this as the equivalent to murder. Like, that's what they think it is.
Yeah.
And, like, that's their perspective. That's fine. It's just so difficult for me to imagine thinking like that.
Yeah.
I really can't. I really can't. That's like me saying, like, I'm going to poke a hole through this can right here, and that's murder. It's, like, so far from it.
You know, I'm sorry, but there's a reason this country was founded on separation of church and state.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
Right. As they're thinking of it as church and state, whereas the left is thinking of it as no, two totally different things.
Right. I mean, this is so clearly a religious issue, even though they say it's based in science.
It's not.
They claim that science says that life starts at the point of conception.
Right.
That's what their claim is. But the problem with this issue is there's no way to come to an exact. It's
there's two hard lines.
It's totally subjective. Of
exactly.
When you think that life begins.
There's two hard lines. It's either conception.
How do you define that? There's no way to define that.
Right.
Right. Like life could be the first heartbeat.
Well, it's a whole gradual. You know, every second new things are happening in there to create a new human being. You know, it's like what are you going to judge it on?
So, I mean, can we concede that the process of life starts at conception?
Right.
Like, because that's what they think. That's what they're coming at. So it's like.
So we should, or not we, but the left should say, yes, you are correct. That is when the process of making life starts. We can all agree on that, right?
But who cares?
Right.
That's
that
what we
doesn't.
should say.
Can this thing live outside of the mother? No. Okay, moving on. You know, like we're done there. That doesn't matter anymore because it can't live. It's not an independent human being.
Yeah. Also, hot take: human rights don't actually exist.
Whoa. Where are you coming from?
Have you ever read the book *Sapiens*? He goes into detail about this.
No.
Human rights is just like an ideology we've come up with as far as like a means to organize ourselves for a productive society.
Human rights as in life, liberty, and the pursuit of
exist.
happiness? Is that what you're talking about? Or
just human, like for example, like the idea that killing a baby is bad is like that doesn't exist in nature.
No.
There are literally like Komodo dragons eat their young.
Every
every
intelligent
eat their young. There's just no foundational thing in nature that says you can't kill your baby.
No, most intelligent animals, though, I will say, come up with some sort of moral code that they abide by, where they don't kill each other.
I don't think it's a moral code. I think it's a survival tactic. It's not. I don't think it's morality. I think it's like to ensure that their genes are passed on.
That might be it too. Yeah.
But
whatever it is,
like, and those things do materialize into morality, right?
Yeah.
Look at these. A lot of our morals are based on those biological urges if you really break them down.
Yeah.
And a lot of them
don't kill each other because the less of us there are, the less
a really
likely.
Interesting conversation that most of our morals that we live our lives by are the things that are going to help us, or the things that people over thousands of years have decided that these are what's going to best ensure our species' survival.
Yeah, but that's interesting too because it's like, you know, most animals just fuck around, and we're like, and our moral code says nope. Stick with one, you know, have one set of kids and be good. But in terms of nature,
Well, you also have to take in consideration with that raising a human child is a lot more difficult than raising an animal child.
Fair.
Like, we come out of the womb and we can't do shit.
Yeah, no,
We are
for a
so
while,
ill-equipped to
for
live
a
on
bit,
Earth,
for a
right?
fucking bit.
If humans, let's say humans were not sentient and they just had a kid in the woods,
Dude, they're dead. Yeah,
died.
yeah,
No
you're
humans,
done.
no
You're
humans.
eating in like fucking
Whereas,
a day.
You literally can watch a video of a horse be splatted out of
And it's
another
galloping.
horse, and it's running
Yep.
faster than I can ever run.
Yep.
You know?
That's so weird, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they're just bigger
Primates are
animals.
like
they come
that
out.
too, though.
They're
Primates are
bigger
like
animals.
that.
They come
But
out
I think
bigger.
actually humans are less developed than primates are when they come out. So the other thing that I want to talk about is that I think that something that's not discussed a lot is like the net suffering of this issue. And that's sort of the big thing that totally makes me pro-choice, is that I sort of subscribe to a philosophy of like, life is full of suffering, so let's do our best to minimize that.
Mhm.
Whatever you do, you should try to minimize that suffering of other people.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, if this is a question of which is going to cause more suffering, the abortion or having the child in certain circumstances,
Right.
I feel like there are a lot of circumstances that can produce a lot more suffering than just aborting the baby, which has little to no suffering in reality, aside from people seeing something wrong with it.
Right. There's no tangible suffrage that comes from
Which
after
is
that.
a valid form
Now-
of suffering. Like, it might make some people sad. It might make some people upset.
It might make the mother sad.
Right.
You know, the mother might, and they do. They go
Right.
through traumatic episodes because of having to do this, and
Yeah.
and both of the parents go through these sorts of things, and that's a possibility, but that is minimal compared to what would happen if you had the baby, and let's say you're not equipped financially, or you're just not equipped.
Right. So the child has a life where they're at a disadvantage.
Right.
The parents
Can
feel
never get
awful.
by. Yep.
I feel like I've talked about this on the podcast before, but the parents feel awful. They feel guilty. Maybe the child starts resenting the parents.
Yep.
Maybe the parents starts resenting the child for quote unquote ruining their life.
Right.
There's just
Possibility.
so much suffering tied up in that.
Right. And then the kid
That-
grows up unhappy, and then what happens with unhappy kids?
Not
is
to mention, I read a book earlier this year that was about it was like a feminist book about the women's rights movement in Haiti, and the whole book is about there was a regime that ruled Haiti, and the regime basically was like gave full ability. They were like, go ahead, you're just like, they had a regime where their main goal was to instill fear in the citizens, so they were just like, just rape everybody.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And so
This is
they
in Haiti?
did that. What?
This is in Haiti?
Yeah. And so they did that, and the book was about, it's a fiction book, but it's based on somebody's real life, and is about a mother who has a child after rape, and then every time she looks at her child, she has to think about the rape. You know, so talk
Fuck,
about
man.
suffering.
Yeah.
Having to see the face of Matt, and especially if it looks like the rapist.
Oh my
hello,
God,
Now
yeah.
you have to look at your child, which you gave birth to, that looks exactly like the
Dude,
person
in
who
there,
raped
in
you.
those scenarios, I just saw an article today when I was looking for headlines for ridiculous headlines. I saw an article about a man who raped a girl, like an underage girl. This girl had the kid,
Yeah.
and now the man is fighting for custody, for like half custody for that kid.
That's insane.
So it's
See, like, I just don't see how when you lay out stuff like that.
yeah. Where's the justice in
the
that?
fact
Where's
that
the
there's
good in
no
that?
exemption. I can understand your philosophy to an extent, but the fact that there's no exemption for rape, it's like, you gotta be kidding me.
That's where you have to look at it as like, okay, are they trying to cause harm? Is there a malicious intent here? Because that's malicious.
I still stand by that they don't think it's malicious. I just think they prioritize their idea of human life over that.
They do, but
It's like, in their eyes, which is the worst sin, rape or murder? That's what they're thinking. That's what they're thinking.
fucking crazy, man.
And
Fucking
they're saying,
crazy.
and they probably subscribe to the philosophy that the suffering of one person does not equate to, like,
The killing of another.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So hey,
Yeah.
people, hey. Basically, my take on this is, honestly, the people, one, separate church and state. Do not
Yeah.
have your fucking religious ideals involved.
I get your
with-
religion, but it doesn't matter.
Right. Practice whatever you want. Don't make other people subscribe to it.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
Number 2, we need to work on our education system. It's not surprising that
Dude.
many of the states that are passing these are some of the worst educated in the country. Want to know why? Because education results in learning critical thinking, and you need to be able to critically think to approach issues like this.
Yep.
You can't really empathize. Empathy is a form of critical thinking.
Yep.
You can't really empathize if you don't have the skill set to do so.
Yep.
And number 3, both sides of the argument, or both sides of the issue, I think if they tried to empathize with each other a little bit more, there would be a lot less hostility and perhaps some common ground that could be found. I really do think that, because I think at the end of the day, nobody's like, yeah, let's get abortions.
No.
Fuck yeah, I'm for abortions. And I think that if both sides can come together and say, yeah, we don't like this either. Let's figure out a way that's moral for everybody involved, all parties involved.
One thing with these states too that a point that I want to make along with education is this is why local and state politics are so important, and it's so important that you go and you vote in your local and your state elections.
Yeah.
Because like people, some of these guys that are voting for these laws have been in office for like 35 fucking years.
Yeah.
Get these motherfuckers out. Go in, vote these fucking assholes out. You know, like, obviously I have so much sympathy for the people of these states, but like, now that this is happening, put your goddamn foot down. When their time is up, make their time up. Cut them off.
Yep.
You know, get them out of there and vote people in there that are going to care about your education, that are going to care about your rights as citizens of the state. Fuck out of here with all these other assholes.
Yeah, it does serve to show how important state governments are.
Yeah.
All right, so that's our hot take on abortion.
Ooh.
But honestly, to everybody that's really bothered by this, I feel for you. It's shitty. I can't really imagine being put in that position.
No.
Okay, so moving on to ridiculous headlines. So, do you want me to kick this off?
Yeah, do it, because I got two and you got 3.
This has been one of my favorites from all week. I've heard a couple people talk about it. I wanted to talk about it on our podcast.
Okay.
Have you heard about this shit with Constance Wu?
No.
Do you know who she is?
No.
She's the Asian actor from Crazy Rich Asians. She's also starred on a sitcom for.
She's the funny one, right? Like she's like the really okay.
So Constance Wu, this is the headline is Constance Wu was literally crying after Fresh Off the Boat, that's her show, got renewed. Her apology made things worse. So I have to read this to you.
Wait.
Her show got renewed and she was upset about it. And she vented on Twitter.
She was upset about it? Oh,
because they
no.
kept her from doing some other project. And she literally tweeted, let's see, where is it?
Oh, that's bad. What are you doing? You can't do that in that industry.
She deleted the tweets, but obviously people.
Yeah.
She goes, Will reportedly
Screenshots.
wrote the word dislike in the comments of the show's Instagram post announcing the renewal.
Oh.
She also sent out a series of tweets around the same time, most of which cannot be printed in a family newspaper.
Holy
One read,
hell.
in part, so upset right now that I'm literally crying. Ugh. When one fan tweeted to her, congrats on your renewal, great news, she bluntly responded, no, it's not.
Oh my God.
Wu was immediately criticized on social media for her tone-deaf messages. Some people said, just think about all the actors and crews today that they're happy that it got renewed. So maybe you should be so upset that yours got renewed. Oh no, saying like people are very upset for shows that got canceled. Now they're out of a job.
Right.
And look at you over here. So then.
Oh my God, man. That's
dude, it gets better. It gets better.
She was a nobody too. I can't believe she doesn't see it from this perspective. Jesus Christ. Keep going.
So. The best part is she then tried to do like an apology.
Oh God.
And it was so bad.
Oh,
so pieces of her
great.
apology read, I was temporarily upset yesterday, not because I hate the show, but because its renewal meant I had to give up another project that I was really passionate about. Sometimes, hold on, where is it?
Yeah, but you just don't tweet these things.
Here's the best part. So, but my words and ill timing were insensitive to those who are struggling, especially insensitive considering the fact that I used to be in that struggle too. I do regret that, and it wasn't nice, and I am sorry for that. Here's the best part. It's meaningful when you make the choice to believe women. That's
what?
how she ended it.
Wait, what? Where did that come from?
I know. She ended her apology with, "It's meaningful when you make the choice to believe women."
Oh, dude, come on, man.
So she's basically saying, "I fucked up, but hashtag me too."
Yeah.
For no reason, which is so insulting to actual victims
right.
that movement is trying
you
to
just
raise awareness for and help.
You covered up your hole, and then you were like, fucking let me blow another one. Like,
Dude,
what are you doing? You could have ended it a sentence before. You could have ended it a sentence before, and you would have been fine.
Believe what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Believe what? That you're an asshole?
Right.
Dude, she's just as bad as Jussie Smollett. Honestly, like,
dude,
these people are awful.
That ending is bad.
Privileged people. It's like it's fine. I can comprehend you being upset that you have to let another project go to do this. But
why tweet it?
How privileged are you that you're commenting on this show's Instagram and responding to your fans,
right?
Saying, "No, this isn't good. Actually, stop."
As an actor, that like,
oh, as an actor, it's like,
dude,
it's awful. It's awful.
As an actor, if I got a series, I would want that shit to go for like 9-10 fucking seasons. You know, like, the fact that you are getting pissed off about renewal of a show. There's hundreds of people that work on that show, behind the scenes, actors, everyone, film, audio, key grip. There's so many people.
Not to mention that, like,
whose lives depend on that show.
And there's thousands of people that want what you have.
Right.
And you're just literally. That's literally like
oh
saying,
my god, I missed an opportunity for another thing.
If you equate it to like another industry, it's like a industry that was possibly going to go bankrupt. Then they didn't, while another while parallel industry did. And it was just like, fuck this. I wanted to start a new job. I wanted to get a new job at a different company.
Right.
It's like,
also,
hello?
You know what? If you have these thoughts, fine. Okay.
Why are you tweeting them, you psychopath?
Yeah, why are you tweeting them out?
You're an idiot. You're a dumbass. You're an idiot. You're a bad person.
The bridges you burned.
Entitled. I hope you lose all your jobs. I do. I hope you lose all your jobs. You don't deserve this if this is how you approach things.
Nope. She burned all of her bridges with the show. She burned her bridges with casting. She burned her bridges with the audience of the show. You have...
You suck.
Believe women? That's a whole other thing. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
You suck.
Yeah, you
suck.
Yeah, that was a big mistake.
I really liked you in Crazy Rich Asians. But
you
know what? Constance Wu, you suck.
Yeah, that's a bad look. That's a bad fucking look right there. Woo, you start off with a good one, Grant. All right. Here's a nice fun one. Talking about church and state. Televangelist Jim Bakker, I guess his name, Bakker, Jim Bakker, sells $45 Trump coin, like the president coin, and calls it, quote, point of contact with God. We have now officially gone back to the age of relics, my friends. We have fucking relics that are being sold for $45 saying that
because it's Trump's, it's a relic of God.
It's a point of contact with God. If you buy this, you have a point of contact with God. It's a relic. That's what we're back at now.
Oh.
We're back at like fucking priests going and selling pieces of the original Holy Cross.
I'm not surprised by that.
No?
I'm not surprised by it. I mean, it's stupid, but I'm not surprised by it.
I want to see where this guy is from. He's a televangelist, so this is like one of those fucking crazy religious shows.
I honestly think that the pendulum's going to swing with religion. Like, now that we're in a time that religion has sort of died out and people are like lacking meaning in their lives, I think more people are actually going to become religious again before it dies out.
Do you think people are going to become religious or just subscribe to an ideology? Because you're seeing that definitely.
I think both, probably. I don't think people function well without having some sort of myth that they believe in. And so I think that's why I'm saying I'm not surprised, because I think that like people do a very poor job of living in like existential disarray. And so religion is a nice like mattress to lay down on and like relax.
I mean, there's a reason why
I think that as science picks up and we keep finding out how meaningless our lives are, more people are going to turn to religion as like a way to compensate for that and sort of a little bit of cognitive dissonance, ignore everything that's coming out.
I was going to say, well, I wonder if they'll deject science in the process, which would be very, I mean, they already are, but
it's definitely what's going to happen. 1,000%.
Sad, man.
Yep. Okay.
Sad.
So this is great. Okay, so Beto O'Rourke live streams haircut.
Yeah, dude, he's a fun one. He's a fun one. Definitely not going to be president.
Definitely not going to. You know who else isn't going to be the president, dude? Any of the 25 Democratic candidates.
No.
Maybe like one or two of them have a shot.
It's so sad, but yep.
Like Bill de Blasio are entering the race this past week.
I'm sorry.
Nobody wants you to be president, dude.
Nope. And also, I don't know how I've been following the polls very closely because I have a shoe in the race for a couple of the lower tiers.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at it and I'm saying, fucking 40% of you really? I mean, are we trusting the polls? But 40% of you want Biden. We've seen that the establishment doesn't work against Trump.
Yeah.
And you want to go Biden?
Well, yeah. I mean, what is that? Registered Democrats that are saying that?
I've seen Fox News polls. I've seen Washington Post. I
understand Biden from a strategic standpoint because he can probably swing moderates over to the Democratic
I think
side.
there's other options that can swing moderates though, and I think that I just think that he's too establishment. I think he's.
I mean, I agree, but I do see his like strategic placement.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying.
I think that if he gets elected, he loses. I think he loses to Trump.
I don't know if he would lose to Trump. I actually think that he would do well.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. I think that he's very appealing to the same demographic that would be like the swing demographic in an election like that.
He appeals to the older demographic for sure.
Yeah.
My issue with him is our generation, is millennials and all them going to be as enthusiastic about going out and voting?
Well, the far left isn't, but I do think that a lot of people are so adamant against Trump that Biden is a nice medium for people to settle on for
definitely
at least 4 years.
I hope people view it that way.
I think that is how people are going to view it, but I mean, there's for sure better candidates
Yep.
than him, 1,000%.
Yeah.
But anyway, Beto O'Rourke got a haircut and live streamed it because who knows why, dude.
It's like Elizabeth Warren with the fucking beer.
Somebody who's struggling in the polls.
Yeah. He dropped tremendously.
Yeah, well, because he doesn't bring anything to the table.
No.
He's one of those things that's like in Texas when he was running. It's like, oh, that'd be awesome. Like,
for
he seems
Texas,
like a good enough guy, like a good guy to run Texas.
Yep.
Be the senator there. Be Ted Cruz. That'd be a huge upset. To run the country.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I haven't really heard.
He's so bland.
What he brings to the table. I haven't really heard his plans. I haven't heard many of the Democratic nominees' plans.
Man.
Yeah.
There's too many of them.
Listen, you should have like a full-fledged fucking outline of your policies if you're gonna step into the race. That should be like a requirement.
Yeah.
You should have outline. You should have policies because like what the fuck are you doing running otherwise? What is this, a student government race?
I just don't know.
Like,
could you imagine like who is telling Bill de Blasio to run for president?
I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of people telling him not to run.
I agree.
Because like, what are you doing at this point?
But that statement can be applied to a lot of these candidates. Like,
yep.
Who's telling you to run? You're not going to win.
No.
Like, you're just not. There are people that are like polling at like they're not even on the polls.
Yeah. No, I know there's a ton of 0%ers.
24 candidates now.
I'm very interested to see what the debate is going to do. The debates are going to be very interesting because there's too many of them, so none of them are going to get really any talking time.
They have multiple debates.
They do. They definitely do. And it shouldn't even be a question.
Each person is going to get is nothing.
It's like 3 to 4 minutes, I think. I saw someone post about it. It's literally 3 to 4 minutes. Anyway. All right. Another one. Trump's pick for ICE director. Mm-hmm. This is what he said. I can tell which migrant children will become gang members by looking into their eyes. Oh, this is the guy?
When did he say that?
This was, the article was posted on the 16th, so that was, 2 days ago?
When did he say that? When was he quoted saying that?
Let's see. He said it in January. This is his quote in January. I've been to detention facilities where I've walked up to these individuals that are so-called minors, 17 or under, Morgan said on Tucker Carlson Tonight in January. I've looked at them and I've looked at their eyes, Tucker, and I've said that And I've said, that is a soon-to-be MS-13 gang member. It's unequivocal. All right,
man. Well,
come on. Why is it that we as American citizens, like, he picks all of his cabinet members when he's being, elected to be president and everything, and he has all these people set for all of these sorts of things, right?
Yeah.
But then the amount of changeover that he's had, it's like, hold on, this isn't even the cabinet that the people that voted for you subscribe to.
Right.
This is a totally different cabinet, and you're just putting, like, come on, man.
I have a huge problem with that. Like, I think it's so ridiculous that there are positions that aren't voted for in a democracy, especially positions with, like, the big one is, like, what's his name? The head of the Justice Department.
Head of the Department of Justice, the Attorney General.
Attorney General. Right?
Yeah.
The fact that that is not an elected position is absurd.
Yep. Right. It's like the president appoints it. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's not
he just holds so much. He wields so much power.
Yeah.
So
the amount of people that have either resigned, the amount of positions that he's changed over in his 2 years so far is, he may have turned over every single position at least once. Yeah. Like, he may be there. Some of them maybe even 2 or 3 times.
I don't think there's anybody maybe from his original cabinet. I could be wrong by that, but if there is, that's very few.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. But if you're going to bring in this, like, he's clearly just not paying attention to what the fuck he's doing. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Gang members by looking into their eyes. Woo,
okay,
boy.
So the last one, and this is a quick one that I just wanted to say real quick, is that Uber Black, you might have heard of this, is introducing an option to tell your driver you don't want to talk.
Oh, this is the Uber, what is it?
Silent mode.
Yeah, yeah.
Listen, I'm all about that.
Sometimes silent car.
Don't want to talk.
Oh man, dude, I'll go in sometimes.
To be completely honest, like, these people are chatterboxes.
Yeah, they are, dude. I'll go in with my headphones on, and they're like, "Start talking." I'm like, "Wait, what?" Pull my headphone to the side, and then you're stuck in a conversation for the 35-minute ride.
Yeah, and I've heard life stories from these people. They love talking about their life story. And like, listen, they're very nice. They're very nice. But there's a majority of the day I don't want to talk to anybody.
Yep.
So
you know what they love talking about? They love talking about Uber.
Do they?
Yeah, dude. Every time I go in there, I'm like, this is my Uber, and then I get in, and they talk about. I've had so many drivers. All they talk about is how fucked up Uber is.
Well, because they're caught in this system now.
Yeah.
They
just like what we talked about last week.
And now they're caught up in it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yep.
Probably what's on their mind. They're like driving around working for this company they probably hate.
Yeah, that isn't paying them jack shit.
Yeah.
All right, we're going on to the unpopular opinions.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit. Unpopular opinion. Dun, dun, dun. Unpopular opinion. Dun, dun. Okay. You got one or?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, let's see. So I really like this one. Irresponsible spending is more of a problem than low wages.
Fair.
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
But I could definitely see
I
that
can see it.
True,
oh yeah.
For sure. People spend money on stupid shit.
Look at our generation. We've talked about this on one of our very early podcast episodes. The amount of money that we spend on eating out when we have food here to cook is absurd. Just that in and of itself is irresponsible spending.
This is what he said. After working retail for a few years, I've come to the conclusion that a lot of these people that don't have a lot of money are in this position because they spend unwisely. I think that's true. I've worked with people who earned less than $40K for their family of 4 and got a $190K mortgage when $120K would still have been a great house.
Mm-hmm.
People who earned $20K pre-tax and got a used car loan of $22K. This is all very true. People do this. People spend excess money using credit and lines of credit and mortgages to get things that they don't need.
Look at people that live in the projects or the ghetto or in any city, in any suburb or whatever. If people that live in lower housing, a lot of the times they'll have like a car with really nice rims, or they'll have like really nice necklaces, or they'll have like really great jewelry, things that don't.
I think it's a cultural issue.
Yeah,
I think it's a cultural issue.
We value
that prioritizes like materials.
Yeah,
and it doesn't like it's like the symbols of wealth are more evident and obvious, and therefore they're acted upon, like purchasing the symbols that represent wealth more
Right.
so than the process that it takes to actually become stable and wealthy.
It's like you see that guy with a nice car. Oh, he must be wealthy because
Right,
he
it's a
has that nice
projection.
car.
It's like you're projecting yourself to your surrounding company.
Yeah.
But you know what's cooler than having a nice car? Actually having money.
Yeah, that, and also actually having like a good life and a
Right.
fun life, and
I
being
mean,
able to spend.
that's totally a thing, dude. That is absolutely a thing. And I honestly, I don't know if stats would prove that to be true, but I just would not be surprised if that was the case. And listen, and the reason why I also say that is because I've been at times where I didn't make that much money and I was fine financially.
Yeah.
I was fine.
Yeah.
It is not difficult to budget. Granted, I'm only supporting one person. But
That's-
hey,
yeah.
that just means you have to alter your budget. Like, you have to be the person that says, if I have a family of 4, I maybe should not go for the extra expensive house if I
Right.
don't have the money for it.
Right. I can't go out shopping. I can't go out for drinks this weekend. I don't have it.
Dude, that is I watch people spend money, man. I see it all the time. The money that they spend on
Crazy
like you just said,
things.
going out and clothing and and I talk to people that joke about it. There's like, oh, I have a problem with buying new clothes every week. It's like, yeah, that is a problem.
Right. Right.
Figure it out.
Right. If you're
Stop
putting
buying
shit,
stupid shit.
if you're putting shit on your credit card and you're doing it and it's things that you don't need, that's not good.
That's dumb.
Yes, it's not good.
And Grant, there's an entire like power structure like influencing this, right? Like I say, it's culture, but within that culture, there is
They
there are-
incentivize you
right, there's
spending
incentive
stupidly.
to spend money
Yeah.
on things.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
very dumb.
It is dumb. Okay. There's nothing wrong with wanting to live a quiet, mediocre life.
I agree with that.
I agree with that too. I think there's a lot of pressure in our society today to like fucking be amazing at
Quiet,
something,
mediocre
or
life, if you're okay with that, it's probably much happier than a desperate life trying to be successful.
I think about it all the time, dude. As an actor living in the city, I'm like, wow. I look at people that live out in like where they don't have to spend any money on anything, and their house is super cheap, and they, they could work less hours because they don't have to pay for as much, and it's like, I would not. I wouldn't mind the ranch and the horse
all
and
the time. Like, I wish I had more of a like simple ambitions. I mean, I feel like my ambitions get in the way of my happiness because they're so ambitious.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
So you constantly are living in a state of
stress.
I haven't achieved this.
Yeah.
So you feel like there's sort of like a bit of emptiness.
There's like a weight on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just lived simply and if we all, it would take the load off.
Yeah.
I wish, but
So
alas.
this one's kind of interesting. Not everything is abuse in a relationship.
Not everything what?
Is abuse in a relationship.
Read
So
what
I grew
he's saying.
up with a grandpa that would beat the shit out of my grandma. I'm sorry, I laughed at that. That wasn't where I thought that was going. Kick her and my mom out and invite prostitutes to the house frequently. I have very little tolerance for people who think that one heated argument in an otherwise perfectly functional relationship is abuse. Of course, there are actual abusive relationships in the world. I just think that a lot of people who claim abuse are being dramatic. No, it's not abuse when your partner wants to see your phone. No, it's not abuse when you've had one heated argument. No, it's not abuse when your partner criticizes your purchasing habits. So basically, he's just pointing out all these things that people might say are abuse. I've never really heard somebody say that those things are abuse.
That's what I was going to say.
People say that arguments are abuse, and I think that arguments sometimes can be abusive.
Depending on the situation, yeah. But those things that he's saying, I agree they're not abuse, but I've never heard anyone
Sounds
say.
like a bad relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never heard anyone say that. That's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a classification thing, but I've never really heard somebody complain about an abusive relationship that didn't seem abusive to me. So
yeah, fair. All right. If high school was the best years of your life, you have a very sad life.
I agree.
I agree too.
Yeah.
Listen, I look back on high school fondly, not because of high school, but because I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I got to play, and life wasn't as serious.
I think
and
this person's more so saying if you peaked at high school,
Right.
high school, then you
right, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of fair.
it's kind of like a cliche to say, but it is true. I mean, like that. There's a lot of life ahead of you,
Yeah,
and you're
right. You
not
have
doing much with it. That's kind of shitty. That's kind of sad.
It's funny because he starts this thing off with, you hear this sentiment often, especially from folks who were football players, cheerleaders, etc., generally popular groups. And it's true. It's like they put all of their eggs into the high school basket, and they don't give a fuck about anything that will happen afterwards.
Well, they totally subscribe, like, to, like, this is the end all. Like, it's weird.
It's the same group of kids that we talked about in the last episode that make fun of the nerds, or make fun of the kids that are smart.
Yeah.
It's the same group. I'm not gonna, okay, you're the star quarterback of the high school football team. Are you good enough to make it in the NFL? Maybe you should think about other things then.
Dude, I remember kids that just didn't give a fuck about school.
Yeah, not at all.
And I thought it was so funny that they were failing classes.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, imagine having that mentality.
I
also,
really can't.
We laugh at it, but it's pretty sad that their household, whatever their household was,
dude, I
didn't
knew privileged kids like that though.
Really?
Kids that were privileged as
well, see, that's
fuck
a whole
that were like
other
that.
that's a whole other end of it. Some kids are like in such a poor position that no one's pushing them, but then the privileged kids are like, oh, I'm gonna be rich for the rest of my life.
Dude,
I don't care.
This is kind of an unpopular opinion. I don't fucking support that adversity score on the SATs.
Okay, I'm with you 100% on that.
That is
Fuck
the most
that shit.
ridiculous thing I've ever heard. On multitudes, levels and
Listen,
levels and levels. It is bad for everybody involved.
You know what's bad for everyone involved? The SATs. The SATs do no good, period. Get rid of the test.
You're trying to standardize people's intelligence. Now you're trying to standardize their oppression.
Right.
Like that. So let's talk about that for a second. Now you are a complex human being that have had endless experiences that you never quantify into a score, and yet based on different categories that they're not revealing, by the way.
No, they won't tell anyone.
They won't reveal it.
Yep.
They're going to label your oppression on a number scale.
Right.
So let's say that your oppression, let's say it's obscure, and it's not one of the things that is located within the different categories that they're using to develop this score. Now you're just labeled a 3.
It's not even
maybe your level of oppression should be an 8 or a 10.
Is it just oppression that they're measuring? Because
it's adversity. So it's like crime rates in the neighborhood that you grew up with, and whether you have a single parent or not.
I look at that, and I look at what my situation was in high school, which is at the beginning of high school, my freshman year, is when my father got very sick. Yeah. And that lasted. I mean, we still deal with it as a family, but that shit would never have been on this adversity score, and that seriously affected me in high school.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I wouldn't have been looked at.
How about people that come from wealthy families but suffer from severe anxiety and depression?
Right.
Like, is that going
you
to
can't
be on the
measure
adversity?
this shit.
They're trying, like, this is just a big cover-up, by the way, for this SAT scandal that happened. Like, that's what this is. They're scrambling to make some sort of legitimacy around the SAT again, because people are like, oh, it can be rigged. So
by like hiring out proctors and
But why the SAT, which is a business, how about for people that live in neighborhoods that are primarily lower income, because that seems to be what this is aimed at, people that have less resources, why don't you, as a company that makes billions of dollars, provide the resources in that neighborhood instead of just saying you're going to get an adversity score, which might help you get into college?
Right.
Why don't you try to fix the problem instead of just honestly instill in these students that they don't have to do as much work because they might get a high score on the adversity test?
Right. They can be lazy anyway. You know, it doesn't matter. What they do doesn't
matter. Not to
matter.
mention that this discriminates against Asians even more than they're already discriminated against, because they're the highest scores on the test.
Right. So now they can get you can get a perfect score and be knocked down just because you're Asian.
Yes.
That's fucking crazy,
This
man.
affects Asians on average score 150 points higher than white people, and about 350 points higher than black people. And so it's like,
wow, man.
So the Asians are the people that suffer from this the most.
Dude, welcome to the death of a meritocracy. That's crazy.
As somebody who works within this field, it upsets me so much, because it is such a bullshit. Like, it's like there's an idiot in charge who's making this decision. Yeah. It is so not going to achieve, again, perhaps good intentions.
Wrong way. Wrong method.
Horrible way at achieving whatever you're trying to achieve with this. Also, you're profiling. Yeah. You're profiling. Right. Straight up.
Yep.
Because these neighborhoods that you're assigning adversity to have higher numbers of particular races.
Right.
You are profiling.
So we're gonna deem that as a high crime or a poverty neighborhood just because of this specific race lives there. That's horrible. I can't believe
so much wrong. I can't even wrap my head around this decision-making process.
I can't imagine that the Department of Education could wrap its grimy fucking. It's already grimy fingers, but wrap its shit around this and accept it.
Department of Education, though.
I know, but I can't imagine that they would accept it and say, "Wow, we're still gonna subscribe you to take this test. We're still gonna push taking this test." It's stupid, man.
Here's what I say: take the ACT. Don't take the SAT.
Here's what I say: get rid of all these stupid standardized
Figure
tests.
out another way
to
judge your people.
And let's remodel the education system because this shit ain't working.
No,
it's not working. We continue to fall in education.
To be honest, I think I tweeted about this yesterday, but it points to the general issue of standardized tests, which is that it gives you a number that's supposed to encapsulate who you are as a person.
Yes,
it's the same thing as saying here's a number that we've given you on your math skills on this watered down IQ test of sorts that is supposed to indicate to us how smart you are. Overall, it's the same thing. It's here's a number for your adversity that's supposed to signal to us how much struggle you've had to overcome. It's just you can't boil it down to a single number like that.
I want to leave it with this, something that happened or not happened, I guess, but when I got accepted to PACE for acting, one of the big things that PACE pushed, which I was super appreciative of, is a lot of these other schools, their musical theater departments or their acting departments or theater departments, whatever, are all, and this is the reason I'm saying this is because it's reflective of education today. They're all cookie cutter programs. Everyone is going to be learning to sing this song. Everyone is going to come out like the same. You know what I'm saying? It's a cookie cutter. And PACE wasn't like that. It's we're going to cater to your individual needs. We're going to view you as a performer and you as a person, as an individual, and not like that. And they truly did that, And it's why can't education itself understand that concept?
That's actually, I think, something that once you're in college, they're pretty good at. I think that most colleges that I've had experience with is
individualizing.
Yes. I mean, most of my experience is liberal arts schools, but I think that they're pretty good at giving you the freedom and offering, and also honestly encouraging that through their gen ed requirements.
Maybe college, yeah, but not high school. It's
no.
You all take the same classes. You have to take these things. You cannot take this. It's crazy. It's the wrong way to educate our kids, and it's showing in our scores.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that I was very upset about that. I don't usually have a visceral reaction to things, but because it's my field, that's what I work in.
It's upsetting.
The same thing as if something happened in martial arts or something like that.
Yeah.
It a policy change or something.
Well, it's what happens when things happen with actors.
Because guess what, dude? This is subsequently going to affect me as an instructor.
Yes.
It's going to make my job harder because instead of you giving the resources that these kids need, you're just going to push them along, and so my class, the population
is going to suffer.
Is going to be all over the place.
Yep.
Thanks to this.
Yep.
And that's not saying that these people shouldn't go to school.
Yep.
But they need to develop programs. I work for an awesome program. It's called the SEEK program. And what it does is it takes or students whose scores aren't that good, that came from difficult high schools, and they give them the academic resources that they need to catch up once they get to college. They're in college. They're let in, but they have to come to 12 tutoring sessions every semester to catch up.
That's great.
Do that.
Yes.
Do that.
Yeah. Yep. There's so many different methods.
It's such an awful policy.
It's a lazy policy.
Yeah, it is.
It's lazy.
It's like tossing money at an issue.
It's putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound.
Right.
It just doesn't solve the overall issue.
It's too complex of an issue to just solve.
Yeah.
What they're doing, this is total PR. It's total PR.
Well, it's at the baseline of it. It's let's solve the education issue in America, because that's what they're saying here. Pretty much is let's solve the public education issue in America by racially profiling. That's the gist of it. That's what it boils down to.
Assumptions. There are so many assumptions wrapped into this policy.
Yep.
They're assuming so much. There might be somebody, and I don't know, but there might be somebody that, an individual who was in a high criminal neighborhood, but who was very privileged.
Mm-hmm.
But they're gonna get the same adversity score as everybody else that lived in that neighborhood.
Right.
Do you Can we all see where the problems emerge from this?
Right.
Not to mention how that's going to influence people's
where people are living,
their motivation to do well in the other sections of the test.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm not that good at math, but I guess. And how about lying?
Think about how hard it is.
Lying. You don't think anybody's going to lie
about their address?
Have you met people?
Yeah.
Hey, SAT, have you met someone before?
There was something I was gonna say too. Oh, can you imagine being now? It's gonna be hard on you as a college instructor, right? Imagine being a English teacher in a underprivileged high school in like 9th and 10th grade.
Trying to get them
motivated to want to do anything on this test. Think about how hard that's going to be.
Right.
What are you actually solving? You're making everything harder.
Well, basically what this test does is it's like, we're going to inflate your grade.
Right. Yes.
So what's the point of doing better on those other sections
right.
if we know that we're just going to have grade inflation?
Yep.
Hello?
Right. What's the point of learning?
Hello?
All right.
SAT, hello?
There's a ridiculous headline we could have talked about right there.
Do you have any more?
I don't. Do you have another one?
Pooping at work is a power move.
Dude, I couldn't do it, man.
You can't poop at work?
See.
Oh, I poop everywhere.
Dude, when I'm at the gym, though, like when I'm at the gym, it's the bathroom's right next to the floor. So if you poop, like you come out of there, it's a single bathroom. Everyone's going to know, man.
Listen, man, everybody poops.
Everybody poops, but you shouldn't force others to smell.
You're not forcing. That's a design error.
If you want to be down, yeah, well,
that's
fair.
A design error.
Blame the building.
It is. That's the architectural error.
Hey, I smell your poop. Yeah, go talk to the contractor.
Talk to the architect. Take it up with the architect.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I have never felt any sort of awkwardness pooping. I'm so comfortable with pooping anywhere.
Really?
Yeah.
Even if it's like noisy shit.
Yeah, don't care. I genuinely don't care.
You blow it all out.
Half the time, more than half the time. I'd say 90% of the time, you're never going to see anybody. Depending on where you work.
Do you wait in the stall until everyone leaves?
I just unload, dude.
Yeah.
I unload.
No, I'm saying
I give them the full fireworks show.
I know, but
dude.
then do you wait until like everyone's out of the bathroom and then you stand up, or do you like
no,
you're like
dude,
nah,
I
I'm
walk
strutting
out
my
there,
stuff.
Dude, I walk out of there like I'm on a catwalk, bro.
Yeah.
I go in there, they hear the show, they could hear the concert.
Yeah, nice fireworks.
Dude, I would honestly I walk out of there as if I'm gonna give them an encore, bro.
Maybe you should.
Sometimes I do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go right back in
go
there. Go
back for seconds.
One out of me. Sometimes I go right back in there and I'm like, you guys wanted more? Here's some more.
You should just plop one in the urinal.
Yeah, and then the pyrotechnics start. And honestly, if you want an entertaining Friday night, meet me in the stall, dude.
Yeah, meet me in the stall.
It's
going down.
It's going down.
I don't know. I don't know what the next verse is there, but we'll keep it there. Meet Grant in the stall, everyone. That's the advice for today.
Also, don't be insecure about that. Everybody poops. It's such a weird thing, but it is a thing. And so many people are very uncomfortable with that. I know people that to this day that are our age that will not poop.
Dude, I hate it, man. No, not that I won't. I will do it. I just, if I can, it's staying in me.
There's like the people that won't go to a bathroom unless it's a private bathroom. I just don't feel that way. I just don't. Do
you lay toilet paper down before you sit, or do you just like fuck it, man? Get all this germ all over my ass. Spread that shit.
Dude, my take on germs, if you're going to inquire, is that they're everywhere.
Yeah,
okay?
But the bad ones aren't. I mean, they are, but not the really bad ones.
I would beg to differ. I think that if you really thought about where germs are in your day-to-day life, you wouldn't do anything.
There's a reason why.
I ain't gonna think about
There's a reason why when you touch your soda can and then rub your eye, you don't get pink eye. But when you touch your asshole and you touch your eye, you get pink eye, Grant.
Certainly, dude.
There's a reason.
So many germs everywhere.
Yeah.
There are so many germs everywhere. And honestly, most bathrooms, as long as you're not going into a stall at like a gas station on the side of the highway, are cleaned every single day.
Yeah.
Depends on, I don't know where you're going to the bathroom, but most bathrooms, if it's a modern building with a janitorial team, they are cleaned every single day.
Yes.
And multiple times during the day, actually.
That's where it gets weird.
I see.
Yes, good places.
Yeah.
Not so good places.
That's
not
what I'm
so
saying.
much.
So, yeah, of course I don't want to use a dirty bathroom. Of course I don't want to use a dirty bathroom, Keith.
Spray the spritz on my hand when I finish.
Yeah, but I'm okay given the show if it's a moderately clean stall, dude.
Yeah.
I'm okay with letting loose in a moderately clean stall.
You should leave some on the seat just for the next person, just to let them know this
Dude,
is
you never
Grant
what I
was
never
here.
understood is people that are compelled to write on bathroom stalls.
Yeah, very
and
weird.
They write weird things too.
Yep.
They're just like,
Also,
hey, call this number to suck my cock.
Also,
like,
why do you have a Sharpie in the bathroom?
Straight up Craigslist before Craigslist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, why do you have a Sharpie?
Yeah, where'd that come from? Do you carry around a Sharpie and do you pull that out of your ass?
Like some people like carve Metallica into the wall. It's like, what?
Carve
like,
Metallica.
You're shitting and you're just like, Metallica.
Rage Against the Machine. Yeah, people are weird,
often,
man.
Like in guys' bathrooms, they are usually offensive slurs about homosexuals.
Really? I don't take notice, but
that's usually what they are. Like they'll have like the F word written all over. It's like, why?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you trying to
people
offend
are weird,
the people
man.
that are in an insecure environment?
That's like those people are the internet trolls, man. It's the same people. It's the same people.
A lot of them are like trying to offend the person that's using the stall. It's like you suck. Like a lot of them are insults. Like you suck.
Maybe that's my underlying reason for hating this shit.
They're
I just
always subliminal messages that make people feel even more insecure.
Yeah.
Hey guys, stop.
Let's all be nice to each other.
All right.
Give each other hugs.
This isn't fucking social network. It's a stall.
Next time you're in the bathroom with another man, when he walks out of that stall, you plant one right on his cheek.
Or how about next time you're in the bathroom with a man, you take your hand and put it on his shoulder and you say, it's okay.
Do your thing.
Yeah, you say, I am with you, brother.
But, sir, it's going to be a loud one. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it, man. Don't listen to those wall comments.
You got this
shit. Don't listen to those stall comments. You're the man.
Yeah, dude, you can do it.
Dude, own this shit.
Dude, push.
Straight up, you own this shit, and you're going to own it.
Are you strong, man? You think you're strong? Just fucking prove it, man.
Yeah.
Fucking prove it.
You know what's manly?
Work those intestines. Yeah.
Owning it. So own your bathroom time.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah, it's your time.
That's what I have. Start with abortions, end it with poop. Coincidence? I think not, Keith.
Oh,
if
no.
you want to understand that reference, just listen to
two episodes ago. Yeah, 2 episodes ago.
Ah.
Grant thinks that he pushes babies out of his butt.
Okay,
that's how we're ending the episode.
That's a wrap.
See you later. I can't control it from here.